You to look at still on chapter 3 and still on the formation of urine. Okay, the last part. For this lecture we are going to look at the role of ADH and aldosterone, right? If you can't hear me, then you can tell me. If otherwise, I assume that you can hear. Okay, so subtopic 3.2.33, roles of ADH and aldosterone, right? Okay, so ADH, as you know, is the hormone, stands for Antidiuretic hormone, right? And it is basically the hormone produced by the pituitary glands. Detail on the explanation of hormones we are going to look at in another chapter. Okay, so it says here combination of nervous and hormonal controls manages the osmoregulatory function of the mammalian kidney. Key important hormones are the ADH hormone, antidiuretic hormones, and also aldosterone in the Renin-Angiotensin aldosterone system, or RAAS, RAAS, right? Okay, so role of ADH, antidiuretic hormone, osmoreceptors in osmoreceptor cells in the hypothalamus will monitor the osmolarity of the blood. Okay, so you have in the hypothalamus cells, we call it as osmoreceptor cells, and it has function which is monitor the osmolarity of the blood and regulate the release of ADH from the posterior pituitary gland. So posterior pituitary gland is located under the hypothalamus. So the hypothalamus it is found in the brain area. Okay, so you have the hypothalamus, and hanging down from the hypothalamus you have the pituitary gland. Okay, so the pituitary gland is divided into two, which is the posterior and the anterior. So each region of anterior and also posterior pituitary will release its own hormone, and as for the posterior, it produces it secretes the hormone antidiuretic hormone. Okay, so imagine the hormone that function to regulate your urine. Okay, the formation of urine is located in the brain. Okay, so how far is that, right? From the brain to the kidney, the hormone has to travel. Alright, so ADH makes the epithelium of the collecting ducts to be more permeable to water by influences water uptake by increasing the amount of aquaporin in the plasma membranes of the cells. Plasma membrane of the cells of what? Of the collecting ducts. So you have the collecting ducts, you have the cell of the collecting ducts. Okay, we call it as the transport epithelium, like we have looked at before. And then this is the lumen of the collecting ducts. So the function of the ADH hormone, so ADH hormone is secreted from the posterior pituitary. It travels along your blood circulation until it reaches the target organ, which is the kidney, right? So in the kidney, it causes the cell of the transport epithelium to be added with more aquaporins. Okay, so this is why, because on previous lecture we looked at one of the events that occurs in the collecting ducts is the reabsorption of water. Okay, so whenever reabsorption of water occurs, there will be aquaporins. Okay, so water from the filtrate, okay, in the collecting ducts will be reabsorbed, okay, into your blood circulation, into the interstitial fluid and into the blood vessels. Alright, the water will move through the cells of the collecting ducts through the aquaporins that will be added due to the hormone ADH. So thus water reabsorption will increase. So the more ADH produces secreted, the more aquaporin will be added to the cells, okay, to the cells of the collecting ducts, the more water will be reabsorbed back into your blood circulation. Okay, so when the solute concentration rises above a set point, which is 300 milliosmoles, ADH level increases. So solute concentration rises above set point. So this is the blood, okay, the blood normal set point, the blood osmolarity at the normal set point, 300 milliosmol. So when your blood is concentrated or you are dehydrated, right, your body needs to conserve water, so therefore the secretion, the production and secretion of ADH will increase. So when ADH increases, so this will signal collecting ducts to increase reabsorption, step up reabsorption of water, so resulting in the concentrated urine. So when more water will be reabsorbed, the urine produced will be very concentrated, will be more concentrated. So this will reduce also urine volume. Why? Because water has been reabsorbed. Okay, water reabsorption occurs back into your blood circulation. Therefore, the amount of filtrate produced will be low. Okay, and produces concentrated urine, urine with low volume, and lowers blood osmolarity back to the normal set point. So if blood osmolarity increases above 300, so this will happen. Okay, so this is to make sure that the normal blood osmolarity will be achieved back. Okay, so when the solute concentration is dilute, okay, is diluted below the set point, like what you have done for your experiment, where you have to drink a lot of water, so you have plenty of water in your body and in your blood, so the excess water will need to be removed from your body, so therefore the ADH level will drop. Okay, so the amount of ADH produced and secrete will be reduced. Okay, so when ADH reduced, less aquaporin will be added to the wall of the collecting ducts, and water reabsorption will reduce. Okay, so tak perlulah badan awak nak reabsorb air balik kan, reabsorb air sebab dah memang banyak air dalam badan awak, so that excess water needs to be removed, so resulting in increased discharge of large volume of dilute urine. So when you are drinking a lot of water, you produce urine that is really dilute, okay, in large amount. So you can compare dalam bila bangun pagi kan, tak yalah bangun pagi, bila you all drink a lot of water, okay, you will observe the difference between the volume of urine. Okay, the volume of urine, the color of the urine itself will be different. Okay. Okay, so we are going to look at this diagram. Alright, so we are going to start here first. Okay, at the yellow box here. So it says here regulation of fluid retention in the kidney by antidiuretic hormone. So normal blood osmolarity will be maintained, okay, at 300 milliosmol per liter. So this is the normal blood osmolarity. Okay, so next, okay, so it says here blood osmolarity increase. Okay, such as after sweating profusely. So you are exercising, you are sweating very much. Okay, so your body is losing water. Okay, so therefore there will be osmoreceptor cells in the hypothalamus that will trigger that will detect this change in blood osmolarity and causes the hypothalamus to trigger the release of ADH. Hypothalamus will send the information to the posterior pituitary to secrete the hormone ADH. It is not the hypothalamus secreting the ADH. it is the hypothalamus sending information, sending instruction to the posterior pituitary to release ADH, because in the hypothalamus you have these osmoreceptor cells. Okay. So once the so this is in the brain. Okay, so in the brain, so the ADH that is secreted by the posterior pituitary will travel along your blood vessels, okay, along your blood circulation, until it reaches the target organ, which is the kidney. Okay, kidney specifically in the distal tubule and also in the collecting ducts. Okay, so what it does is that the hormone causes the addition of more aquaporine. Okay, aquaporine, so that this increases the reabsorption of water. Okay, so water from the filtrate in the collecting ducts and also in the distal tubule will increase, okay, its reabsorption, okay, due to the adding of more aquaporine. And then when more water is reabsorbed, so the body will conserve water, okay, in the blood. Okay, so and then another mechanism, okay, this is the first mechanism. Another mechanism of increasing the blood osmolarity back to the normal set point is so that the hypothalamus generate thirst. Dia buatkan awak rasa dahaga lah. So when you are feeling thirsty, so you will drink more water, and this will also add up more water to the body and causes blood osmolarity to increase back to the normal set point. So this is the mechanism, this is the homeostatic mechanism of the body to increase back your blood osmolarity back to the normal set point if you are losing water from the body, if your body wants to conserve water in the body. Okay, and maintain the normal set point of 300 milliosmol. Okay, so if you look at this diagram, it says here ADH response pathway in the collecting ducts. Okay, so remember, collecting ducts is the tubule, okay, that receives filtrate from numerous nephrons. Okay, it receives filtrate from numerous nephrons to become urine later, that will be conveyed through the ureter and stored in the urinary bladder. So as you can see here, this is the cell, okay, of the collecting ducts, the cell that makes the wall of the collecting ducts. We call it as the transport epithelium, right? So collecting duct cell, as you can see here, this is the hormone ADH, okay, that comes from the pituitary, posterior pituitary, okay, posterior pituitary in the brain. The posterior pituitary secretes the hormone ADH, travels in your blood circulation until it reaches the kidney and reaches the collecting ducts and causes the collecting ducts to produce more aquaporine. So if you look at this diagram, alright, so ADH, when we are looking at the in the next chapter of hormones, okay, hormone and hormonal communication and nervous system, okay, in the next chapter. So we are going to learn that, okay, hormone, there are several different hormones based on its function and based on its composition. So hormone can be made up of protein, and it also can be made up of steroid. Okay, so for ADH it is the hormone that is made up of protein. Okay, so how do you know that it is made up of protein? Because if you look because of the way the hormone instructs the cell to do something. Okay, the function of hormone is to cause cell to it carries instruction. Okay, it is a way of telling cells to do some work. Okay. So communication. So ADH, as you can see, it is because it is made up of protein, it will bind to a receptor that is located at the plasma membrane of the target cell. Okay, so the hormone binds to the receptor located at the plasma membrane of the target cell and causes a series of reaction to occurs inside cell, we call it as signal transduction. So this signal transduction we have learned during last semester in chapter 3, in chapter 3, which is plasma membrane transport. Okay, so you know that the plasma membrane will have different proteins that have different function. The protein can be enzyme, the protein can be receptor, the protein can be joining one cell to another cell, right? So this protein have many function. So one of the function is it function to bind to hormone and causes the hormone to send information inside cell to do a series of reaction. Okay, so this is what we call it as signal transduction. So first, if we look at the mechanism, okay, so Adh hormone binds to the membrane receptor located at the target cell. In this case is the cell of the collecting ducts, and causes the receptor to trigger signal transduction, a series of reaction to occur inside cell, which is, for example, the binding of ADH to receptor causes the formation of CAMP. I know that you can still remember this term, okay? Cyclic adenine monophosphate, okay, which function as second messenger, hormone as the first messenger. Okay, the formation of CMP function as the second messenger and causes the activation of protein kinase A and causes this reaction to occur where you have the formation of vesicle that contains the protein which is aquaporin. Okay, aquaporin. So this is transport vesicles, kan? Kita dah belajar dulu masa semester 2 macam mana function of RAAS ER, okay, in producing protein, and then RAAS ER when it produces protein due to its having bound ribosome, kan? So dia akan menghasilkan protein tu akan dibawa ke Golgi apparatus. The Golgi apparatus will modify and produces a more functional protein, and then you have the formation of secretory vesicles with protein, okay, with protein on the vesicles. So this time the protein is aqua. The function of the protein is it forms aquaporin. So these secretory vesicles will fuse with the membrane of the cell, okay, and when it fuses, the protein which is aquaporin will become part of the cell membrane. Okay, so this is how the aquaporin is added, okay, to the wall, okay, to the membrane of the collecting ducts. Okay, so through this mechanism, signal transduction. So it says here vesicles with aquaporins, water channel are inserted into membrane lining lumen of collecting duct through the process of exocytosis. The vesicles will fuse, okay, with the plasma membrane through exocytosis and becomes part of the membrane. So aquaporin channel enhance reabsorption of water from collecting ducts into the interstitial fluid. So this is the lumen of the aquaporin. It has the filtrate, okay, it has water. So water will enter into the cell through the aquaporin and travels along the cell and out, okay, and out here, okay, through channel juga. Alright, so that is how water reabsorption occurs in the collecting ducts. Okay, so this is another diagram to show how osmoregulation occurs in your body. So here is if you look at the purple box here, okay, it says here normal water potential of blood. Okay, normal potential of normal water potential of blood is what tadi, 300 milliosmol per liter. Alright, so kita tengok arrow merah ni dulu, okay, sekejap, kotak yellow ni dulu. It says here water needs to conserve water. Sorry, body needs to conserve water. So you are feeling dehydrated. Okay, your body needs to conserve water. So it says here water potential of blood decreases. Okay, blood is too salty, is too concentrated. Okay, osmolarity of the blood increase. So this is monitored by the osmoreceptor in the hypothalamus. That is the function of the osmoreceptor to detect changes, okay, in the blood osmolarity. And then the osmoreceptor cells in the hypothalamus causes send information to the pituitary gland, which is the posterior pituitary, to release ADH, okay, to secrete ADH. Secretes, release, sama je. And then ADH increases the permeability of the distal tubule and also collecting ducts. So this is the distal tubule. So more aquaporin will be added, more reabsorption of water will be added. Same goes to the collecting ducts. Okay, more aquaporin will be added, more reabsorption of water will occur. Okay, reabsorption of water back into the blood circulation. So hari tu kita tengok ada apa, ada blood vessels kan. You have the surrounding the distal tubule, you have the peritubular capillaries, surrounding the loop of Henle, and also in this region you have blood vessels also, okay, that carries blood. So water will enter into your blood circulation. So dia akan keluar daripada filtrate into IF and into the blood. Okay, so that is when your body needs to conserve water, the first condition. Okay, the second condition, for example, B, body needs to get rid of water. So you are drinking plenty of water. Okay, you are drinking plenty of water. So therefore, water potential of blood increases. Water is too watery. Okay, so so water is too watery, very dilute. Alright, so this is detected by osmoreceptor in the hypothalamus, and then causes the posterior pituitary to release less ADH. Okay, so this causes distal tubule and collecting ducts to remain impermeable. Okay, so there will be less aquaporin added maybe. Alright, and then so therefore less reabsorption of water will occur. Okay, less will occur. Okay, so therefore when less reabsorption of water occurs, okay, the volume of urine will increase. Okay, so urine will become very dilute. Okay, so large volume of dilute urine produced. This is so that excessive water can be removed out of your body through the formation of urine, and maintains back the normal water potential of the blood, the normal osmolarity of the blood. Okay, so you have to know this mechanism, okay, of how your body maintains the normal blood osmolarity. We call it as osmoregulation. You should be able to know what happened. If your body needs to conserve water, you should be able to explain how the body get rid of water. Okay, through the formation of urine. Apa yang terlibat, macam mana dia berlaku. So you have to know. Okay, so that is ADH. Okay, so ADH, instruction from the osmoreceptor in the hypothalamus causes posterior pituitary to release ADH and reaches the target organ, which is distal tubule and collecting ducts in the kidney. Okay, so now we are going to look at the second hormone, which is aldosterone. Right, so aldosterone acts on nephrons, distal tubule, and also collecting ducts. Okay, same as ADH. So it involves the mechanism, we call it as renin-angiotensin aldosterone pathway, which increase sodium ion reabsorption. Alright, so we are going to look at the mechanism. Okay, so for number one, it says here low blood volume. Okay, low blood volume and low blood pressure in the afferent arteriole causes this JGA, which is a set of cells. Okay, JGA releases the hormone, the enzyme renin. So this renin, if you refer to different source, it can be both enzyme and also hormone. Okay, so tapi jangan confusekan dia dengan another renin which is found in the in the milk, if I'm not mistaken. Okay, so that is totally different. Doesn't have to do with this. Okay, so then the renin produced, okay, the renin produced will cleave angiotensinogen, which is a plasma protein to angiotensin 1, which is a peptide. So renin cleaves angiotensinogen to angiotensin 1. So angiotensin 1 convert to angiotensin 2, which is assisted by this cell which is ACE. Alright, so angiotensin 2 causes constriction of arterioles. Okay, constriction of arterioles or vasoconstriction, which decreases blood flow to capillaries in the kidney. Alright, to rise blood pressure. Sebab apa tadi? Condition dia adalah low blood pressure. So, bila low blood pressure, you have to increase back your blood pressure to the normal set point. So, how to increase back to the normal set point? Blood vessels, especially in the area of arterioles ni, kan? Dia akan constrict. So the constriction of the arteriole causes blood pressure to increase back, okay, to the normal set point, and stimulates adrenal gland to release the hormone aldosterone. So aldosterone is secreted by the adrenal gland. So aldosterone making distal tubule and collecting ducts to reabsorb more water and sodium ion to increase blood volume and pressure. Okay, blood volume. Sebab macam mana tadi low blood volume kan, so when blood volume is low, you have to increase back the blood volume by increasing reabsorption of water. Okay, so how to increase blood pressure also is to increase the reabsorption of sodium ion. Okay, so this makes them to reabsorb more sodium ion and water, thus increase blood volume and pressure. Okay, so kejap ya. Okay, so if I were to increase this, okay, so if you look at this, what does ACE and JGA stand for? Okay, JGA, if you can copy this one here, okay, JGA is a tissue that surrounds the afferent arterioles. Hari tu kita tengok kan, the glomerulus, and then it is surrounded by the Bowman capsule, and then glomerulus is blood vessels, so it receives blood from afferent arteriole, and blood going out of the glomerulus through the efferent arterioles. Okay, so at the afferent arterioles, you have a tissue, you have a group of tissue that is called as JGA, and located at the afferent arteriole. So ACE, what is ACE? Tadi kita ada jumpa perkataan ACE kan? So ACE is angiotensin converting enzyme. Okay. So it says here sodium and water are reabsorbed in the distal tubule to increase blood volume. Arterioles constrict to increase blood pressure. Okay, so that is how asalnya apa? Blood volume decrease, blood volume low, and also blood pressure low. Okay, untuk increasekan these two factors back to the normal set point, so you have to increase. Okay, you have to increase back the blood volume to the normal set point, and also you have to increase back the blood pressure to the normal set point. So macam mana nak increase blood volume? Increase water reabsorption, and also increase you have to cause arterioles to constrict. Okay, constrict and increase back the blood pressure. Okay, so here it says here normal kan, kita tengok dekat kotak kuning dulu, the yellow box. Okay, normal blood pressure and blood volume. Okay, so if blood pressure, okay, situation yang berlaku sekarang ni adalah blood pressure and blood volume drops. Okay, turun blood pressure and blood volume drops. Okay, for example, due to dehydration or blood loss. Blood loss tu macam contohnya dalam keadaan awak accident, bukan awak, orang lain. Okay, for example, a person accidents and loses large amount of blood. Okay, large amount of blood. Okay, accident causes a large amount of blood to be lost, and also blood pressure to drop as well. Okay, blood pressure to drop as well. So therefore, you have a sensor. We call it as JGA. Kan JGA tadi kat mana? Kat afferent arteriole. Okay, afferent arteriole here. Okay, afferent arteriole. So afferent arteriole releases the hormone or enzyme renin. Okay. And then the long name for JGA is juxtaglomerular apparatus. Okay, juxtaglomerular apparatus, which is a group of tissue at the afferent arteriole. It causes the release of renin and causes the renin to convert angiotensinogen, which is released from the liver, into angiotensin 1. So angiotensin 1 will be converted into angiotensin 2 aided by ACE. Okay. Tadi apa? Nama panjang dia ACE tu angiotensin converting enzyme. Okay, angiotensin converting enzyme. Okay, so angiotensin 1 converted into angiotensin 2 with the aid of ACE, and then causes the adrenal gland. Okay, this causes the adrenal gland to secrete the hormone aldosterone. Okay, so the hormone aldosterone causes the reabsorption of more water and sodium ion, and causes arteriole to constrict. When arteriole constrict, blood pressure increase. Okay, yang ini akan increase blood volume and blood osmolarity, kan? So bila blood volume tadi dah kehilangan darah, dah kehilangan water, okay, fluid from the body, so air kena reabsorb balik. Bila darah hilang, obviously solute akan hilang juga, kan? So sodium ion will also increase its reabsorption. Okay, so this is how the body maintains, okay, the normal blood pressure and also blood volume, okay, through the through this mechanism, right, that involves aldosterone, the secretion of aldosterone from the adrenal gland. Okay, so coordination of ADH and RAAS ni tadi. Okay, renin-angiotensin, nama panjang dia apa tadi? Renin-Angiotensin Aldosterone system. Okay. Angiotensin dulu Angiotensin Aldosterone. Oh, you have to know the long name, Renin-Angiotensin Aldosterone system. Okay, ADH, Antidiuretic hormone. Okay, so both are partners in homeostasis when increased water reabsorption in the kidney. Okay. But the release of ADH is a response to an increase in blood osmolarity. Your blood is diluted. Okay, so you are drinking to an increase in blood osmolarity when body dehydrated. Okay. Excuse the background noise. Okay, my son is having his shower. Alright, so but the release of ADH is a response to an increase in blood osmolarity when the body is dehydrated. Okay, so tadi kita belajar, kan, kita dah tahu dah. Okay, so ADH ni hanya akan diriliskan untuk increase water reabsorption bila masa for example you are dehydrated. Alright, so dia akan increase your thirst, macam tu you are drinking more water, alright, to increase back the blood osmolarity and increase water reabsorption. Okay, so while the release of aldosterone is superior sebelum, okay, to excessive loss of both salt and body fluid due to major wound or severe diarrhea that able to reduce blood volume without increasing osmolarity. Okay, so ADH alone would lower blood sodium concentration via water reabsorption in the kidney, but RAAS helps maintain body fluid osmolarity at the set point by stimulating also sodium reabsorption. So ingat kalau ADH ni dia melibatkan air je, air reabsorption, water reabsorption. Tapi kalau RAAS, both water and also solute to increase blood osmolarity as well, and also blood pressure tadi kan, blood pressure. So dia rasa menyeluruh lagi. Okay, so blood volume, blood concentration and also blood pressure. Okay, so contoh dalam keadaan you are losing so much blood, you are experiencing diarrhea, kena kembalikan semula the normal blood osmolarity tu. Okay. Okay, so okay, so the last subtopic yang untuk chapter ni, tapi we have to go back to the beginning of the chapter later. Okay, so 3.3 positive feedback mechanism. Okay, so positive feedback homeostasis sepatutnya kita belajar awal chapter. Homeostasis, it involves two mechanism, negative feedback and positive feedback mechanism. Negative feedback kita akan tengok nanti. So now we are focusing on positive feedback. Okay, so macam positive feedback, a factor your body ada kena maintain physical and chemical factor. Okay, kalau physical factor, body temperature for example. Kalau negative feedback, bila demam, your body temperature increase. Okay, so you have your homeostasis occurring kan, your body mechanism to occur that will lower your body temperature back to the normal set point. Itu negative feedback. Sama juga kalau blood glucose level, you are eating so much rice, you are eating so much cakes for example, so your blood glucose level increase. Okay, so through negative feedback, so dia akan decrease back to the normal set point. Kalau positive feedback, satu faktor tu dia akan increasekan lagi. So selalunya badan itu bukan normal keadaan untuk badan maintain, tapi ada certain situation itu positive feedback sangat diperlukan. Okay, kalau kena tengok keadaan. Okay, so positive feedback loops occur in animal but do not usually contribute to homeostasis. Does not usually, but at certain situation dia adalah diperlukan. Alright. So any deviation or disturbance from the normal set point leads to further increase in the deviation. Macam tadilah, kalau suhu badan increase, dia akan increasekan lagi. So ini bukan keadaan normal. Kalau blood glucose level increase, dia increasekan lagi. So this is not the right way. Okay, tapi ada keadaan yang diperlukan. Okay, so it is usually harmful but in certain circumstances it is useful. For example, so dia ada 3 keadaan. 1, 2, 3. Okay, so the most example yang paling senang yang kita nak bagi adalah during labor. Okay, during labor is giving birth, childbirth. Okay, so during labor, the hormone oxytocin is produced to stimulate contraction of the uterus muscle. So oxytocin is the hormone secreted by the pituitary gland again. Okay, so from the brain, pituitary gland secreted the hormone oxytocin and travels along your blood until it reaches the target organ, which is the uterus. Okay, imagine berapa jauh dia nak kena travel. So the oxytocin causes the uterus muscle to constrict. Okay, stimulate constriction of the uterus, which is in turn stimulate the release of more oxytocin. So that is how childbirth occurs. Okay, so in order to push out the baby, so the uterus needs to contract. This contraction is due to the secretion of more oxytocin. Okay, more oxytocin is released, more contraction occurs, and causes until the baby is pushed out during childbirth. Another function of the hormone oxytocin is during breastfeeding. Okay, so the hormone oxytocin causes the release of milk, or another term adalah ejection of milk. Okay, ejection of milk from the nipple. Alright. So kalau if instead of you writing ejection or release, you write secretion of milk, pun boleh juga. Okay, secretion of milk pun boleh juga. Tapi if you write, ini adalah word yang you have to take note. If you put the wrong word, then your answer will be wrong. If you write produce milk, then your answer will be wrong, because you have another hormone which function to produce the milk. Okay, the hormone that produces the milk is prolactin. Okay, prolactin also secreted by pituitary gland. Okay, pituitary gland tadi kita tengok ada dua bahagian, ada anterior, ada posterior. So these two region of posterior anterior pituitary kita akan tengok nantilah. Hormon dia ada banyak, ada kesan dia yang berbeza. Okay, so prolactin produce milk, oxytocin secrete, eject or release milk. Okay, from the mammary gland, from the mammary gland. Right. So suckling sends a message to the hypothalamus via the nervous system to release more oxytocin, which further stimulate the milk gland to release more milk. Okay, more milk. So more suckling, selagi baby tu is suckling, right? So the oxytocin will be released to cause more release of the milk. Okay, not produce but release or eject. Okay. So another example, the third example is blood clotting. So when you are injured, you are losing blood, so there will be platelet, right? Okay, ini awak dah belajar. Okay, platelet. Okay, so platelet involved in blood clotting. So this platelet will be released and causes more release of platelet until the formation of blood clot though. Okay, which stops the blood from oozing out lah, right? Okay, so this is the diagram to show you how childbirth occurs through positive feedback. Kan? So kalau positive feedback satu factor dalam badan awak increase, so dia akan increasekan lagi. Macam tu. Okay, that is positive feedback. So you have here the stimulus. Mesti ada stimulus, right? So stimulus, fetus is pushed against the uterine opening, alright? And then there will be sensor. Okay, mesti ada sensor to detect what is happening, right? So sensor receptors in the inferior uterus, bahagian dalam uterus, detect the increased stretch, right? So this sensor will send the information to the integrating center. Integrating center is where is the brain. Okay, so the brain receives the stretch information from the uterus and compares it with the normal set point. Oh, ini dah lain dah daripada set point yang sepatutnya. So the brain sends the information to the effector. Okay, so the effector. So so the effector is another organ that will carry out the response. Okay, so effector it says here if above set point, so the pituitary gland is stimulated to increase secretion of the hormone oxytocin. Okay, nampak tak? Secretion. Nanti kita akan tengok dekat chapter hormon tu nanti. Perkataan ni sangat penting. Jangan guna perkataan produce. Okay, produce salah. Mesti secrete. If you put produce, then your answer is wrong. Okay, increase secretion, not increase production. Increase secretion of the hormone oxytocin, because it is not the pituitary gland producing the oxytocin. It is the hypothalamus. Okay. Alright. So and if I'm not mistaken, is anterior pituitary is just secreting the hormone. Okay. Secrete the hormone oxytocin, travels in the blood, and reaches the target organ, which is the uterus. So when the oxytocin reaches the target organ, uterus, causes the uterine lining, the uterus, the muscle of the uterus to contract. Okay, so this is a positive feedback loop. Okay, so result in increased force against the inferior uterine, the cervix, promoting the birth of the baby. So selagi baby tu kat dalam dalam uterus awak, selagi tu dia akan push against the uterine lining and causes the release of more oxytocin. Okay, so it causes the contraction of the uterus until the child is out, until the baby is out. Okay, so the release of milk. Okay, so dia punya example is suckling, baby menyusu. Okay, so suckling, so the pathway, suckling is the stimulus. Okay, suckling is the stimulus, and then sends the information to the brain. So the brain involved here is the hypothalamus. Okay, so the suckling is the stimulus where the information is sent through impulse. Okay, is sent through impulse. Can impulse through the brain. Neurons sends the impulse until it reaches the brain and causes the hypothalamus to send information to the posterior pituitary. Okay, cause posterior pituitary. Oh, tadi saya salah Tadi bukan anterior tau. Ni sepatutnya posterior pituitary. Okay, posterior pituitary. Posterior pituitary secrete. Okay, secrete, bukan produce. The information sent through the hypothalamus to the posterior pituitary to secrete the hormone. The hormone oxytocin travels in the blood until it reaches the target organ, which is the mammary gland. Okay, the mammary gland, bukan the memory, the mammary gland. Okay, mammary gland. And then causes smooth muscle in the breast to secrete the milk. Okay, to secrete the milk. Secrete, release, eject the milk pun boleh. Jangan guna produce. Okay, so that is positive feedback. So kalau ada suckling, so that is the response. Okay, the causes more milk to be released. So so far, do you have any questions before we move on to the next part?